we are the Ascend team and welcome behind the scenes.
In our film, a young woman discovers why the Earth is drying out when she follows pipelines up an ancestral mountain. Our intention was to show the unbreakable link between humans and the natural world and to denounce the exploitation of natural resources.
The first challenge of our film was creating an environment that was both natural and industrial. I was inspired by oil refinery designs for the industrial ruins. But the pipelines are what lead our film narratively and visually. So we placed them in almost every shot to drive the audience's eye to the character's path and to show that all pipelines converge at the pump. For each shot, I created a CG version of the terrain using photogrammetry. Then, I projected the live footage to give accurate indirect lighting.
For the pipelines and the pump, I redesigned an oil-filled pump jack to give it an alien look using bone shapes inspired by the film Prometheus. To gain efficiency, I made a procedural shader, but despite sharing the same procedural base with the pipeline, the pump required greater detail. So, in Substance Painter, I created scratches, dust and rust to give both scale and realism to the asset. For the pipe leakage, I created a ground patch to scatter the growing plants. This is the integration. I also added some texture in matte painting for more detail.
The shot of the metallic hole is when we discovered the pumping system in detail, so lighting was important. My reference was nuclear reactors. I gave a sense of power and scale while revealing shapes to add contrast.
Our storytelling uses a layered approach, so compositing was crucial. The tricky part was integrating assets in our live plates. The landscapes were vast, so some environment shots required matte painting. For example, on the climbing sequence, DMP helped to underscore the feeling of height. When Leah throws the bomb into the pit, I used PF track to track our live prop, which we replaced with the CG bomb that Manuela designed.
Our character was the last of her kind, so my challenge was to highlight her suffering. I worked with wax and latex to create the disease on her arms. Later, when we discovered that the mountain is actually a stag, I created a sense of drama and showed the huge scale by doing a base mesh in ZBrush and a procedural texture in Mary. Then, to add more realism, I mixed them in Photoshop to create one matte painting. When the stag opens its eye, it's a close-up, so I added details in texturing and look dev, including the scattering effect for the crumbling rocks. As there was only one shot, we used blend shapes for the animator to create the awakening.
Since pipelines are in almost all the shots, I had to be efficient and creative. I developed a procedural setup to generate models from curves that automatically adapt to the terrain. Then, for the set dressing, I created a scattering setup to optimize time. FX played a big part in the movie's climax with a big energy release and the awakening stag. I had to determine the right intensity and to play with the scale from close-up to master shot.
We hope that you enjoyed our movie as much as we enjoyed making it. Thank you for following us on our journey.